Have you ever wondered to yourself, what would it feel like to actually become a millionaire? Have you ever asked yourself the question, is it actually possible for me to become a millionaire? Well, in today's 15-minute mentor video, I'm going to be talking to you about how I became a millionaire and how you can potentially become a millionaire too. And then I'm also going to share with you what I would do different, knowing what I know now. What would I do different if I had to start all over again? Stay tuned because we're talking about it today in this video. So almost 10 years ago now, my wife and I, we went on this crazy journey. For those who don't know, I have been a worship leader and a missionary for 25 plus years. And about 10 years ago, we really started feeling a stir and a call to the marketplace, to business. And I'll never forget, at the time we were hosting these crazy, humongous, amazing, like missions conferences, worship conferences with, 3,000 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, like tons of people. And it was crazy, man, because, hosting these events, it would cost us, $350,000. And, I was never with some big movement or big label backing me financially. It was just me, right? It's just me and my little team and my wife. And it was so interesting because it was always, we'd host these crazy events, we'd go on these crazy missions trips, and so many times we would be like $50,000 in the hole, crying out to God, Lord, please help us, like we need 50 grand or whatever it was, we'd be $75,000 in the hole, or we'd still need $32,000 to make budget or whatever it was. And it was always a businessman or a businesswoman that would come up to us and be like, hey, how you guys doing on the budget? We'd be like, well, I need like $50,000. And they'd be like, oh, cool, 50,000, no problem. And just write the check. And this happened, over and over. And we were so thankful for the goodness of God, but everything changed for us in our journey of becoming millionaires. Everything changed for us when we began to ask a different question. And thankfully it was my wife. Again, we were hosting one of these events, and again, we were in the hole, and again, a business person came and kind of bailed us out, right? And they wrote us the check, and I'll never forget, my wife says, wait, we need to start asking ourselves different questions. Like, instead of like, God, who can give to us to meet our needs and to solve our problems, we should start asking this question: how do we become that person? Like, how do we become the person who's actually the one giving the checks, writing these gigantic checks, not just these great men and women of faith hosting the big events, but how do we become the people that can write the checks? And honestly, it was that change of like asking the question differently that started us on our journey. And so that was a point where it was like, man, maybe we should become millionaires. Like, can we become millionaires? Is it possible for us? And I think that's the first step. That's the very first step on your journey, on the journey of becoming a millionaire. Is you have to realize that this is possible for you. In fact, let me know down in the comments right now if you believe that it's possible for you, okay? So first and foremost, you have to believe that it's possible for you. So we started believing becoming a millionaire is possible for me. And we started thinking about it like this. And so the second thing we did, and I'm going to tell you the actual story of how it happened for us here in just a moment, but I want to give some preface here. So after we started believing, okay, this is possible for us, then we started educating ourselves on finances, on financial literacy, on business, because we didn't know anything about it. We knew a lot about God and the Bible and worship and missions, but we didn't understand business or how money works. And if you don't understand how the game is played, it's going to be impossible for you to win at the game, right? And so if you don't understand how the game works, good luck on trying to win. And so we started educating ourselves on financial literacy. I remember for us, it started with the book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. That's a lot of people's kind of entry into this world. And then we went from there and we started kind of investing into a couple of little courses. I say investing now, it's so laughable. Like, we'd spend $40, like on a little training or something like that. And we're like, oh my gosh, we're investing into ourselves $40. Oh, and it was just, it's laughable now because of the information you can receive by investing into yourself, by investing and growing into your education. It is absolutely mind-boggling what you can do for even $100 and grow knowledge for that $100 investment that can make you thousands and thousands and thousands. We just didn't get it at the time because honestly, we still had a broke kind of missionary mindset around all of this stuff, right? And the broke missionary mindset is someone's going to come and rescue me. Someone's going to come give me a gift. I'm going to pray and God's going to poof a bajillion dollars into my account. And that's just not how it works. That's not how God works. Okay. That's not his best for you. We didn't know. So we kept going. Number one, we started believing, okay, this is possible for us. Number two, we started educating ourselves. And then number three, we started taking massive action on the information and the education that we were getting, on the new lessons that we were learning. We just go and just start taking massive action. And really it was the combination of those three steps that really unlocked this whole millionaire thing for us. So here's our story, okay? Knowing now, okay, changes, first of all, is this possible for me? Yes, I believe it is. And not just saying it, but like actually believing. I believe I can become a millionaire. That has to be the first thing. Second thing, educate yourself. YouTube videos and stuff like this, they're awesome, but man, you gotta put some money down, man. You gotta invest into some courses, into some mentorships, into some trainings. You know, go get in the room with people, go buy books. You know, it's cool to start with podcasts and YouTube videos, but man, you gotta actually put some money in so that you can actually unlock and get some real information and not just free information. Then of course, take massive action. Okay, so let's talk about what happened for us, our actual journey of how this actually happened. Okay, so this is interesting. In our journey of becoming millionaires and believing it was possible, in our education part of the journey, we were looking around for new trainings, new mentors, like who can teach us about whatever, marketing or sales or digital products, or how does this work, or making money online. We were searching and searching. And in our searching, I was presented with the opportunity to join a business mentorship program. And I remember at the time, you know, almost 10 years ago, it felt so scary. It felt so big because the investment was thousands of dollars. And up until that point, we had sown thousands of dollars into the mission field. We had hosted events that were hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we had never invested thousands of dollars into our further education outside of like schooling or whatever, right? And so it felt enormous and big and like, oh my gosh, this is scary. And what if this doesn't work? Just all the normal questions that all the newbies ask and all the peeps who are breaking free from broke-minded mentality ask. What if it doesn't work? And what if we get ripped off? And what if we lose our money? And blah, blah, blah. Just all the disempowering questions. We're asking ourselves those same disempowering questions, okay? So instead of us continuing down that road of asking those disempowering questions, what if it doesn't work? And blah, blah, blah. What if we lose the money? We started asking ourselves different questions. That's a big key takeaway I want you to get from this 15-minute mentor today. Because when I was presented with this opportunity to join this business mentorship program, I presented it to my wife and I was like, hey, because even though it felt big and scary, I knew something different had to change. Because how many of y'all know that change doesn't happen by chance? It only happens by choice. And I knew we had to do something different. So I bring this mentorship opportunity to my wife. Hey, what do you think? And she again asks a different question for us. Because I go, like, what do you think? It might be something we need to consider. And then I start saying, like, what if we lose the money? And like, what if it doesn't work? And my wife, thank you God for my wife. My wife goes, you know, Rick, it's interesting because, and I get it, you're focusing on what's it going to cost us. But my wife looked at me and she says, what's it going to cost if we don't take this opportunity? If we don't jump on this opportunity, what's it going to cost us if we don't? And I think that's another big unlock on the path to becoming a millionaire is broke-minded people are always focused on the cost. What's it going to cost me? What if I lose the money? What if it doesn't work? But wealthy-minded people, we don't look at the cost. We look at the cost of inaction. We consider what's it going to cost if we don't. Like, if we don't learn new skills, if we don't level up our game, if we don't level up our financial literacy, what's it going to cost us if we don't? And when she asked me that question, look, I get it. You're focusing on what's it going to cost you, but what's it going to cost you if we don't? I was like, man. So here's the thing. We bit the bullet. We went for it. We invested into the business mentorship program. This was like almost 10 years ago. And I'll never forget, this was the most psychotic thing ever, okay? Even at the time, 10 years ago, we didn't have enough cash to purchase the mentorship program. So we actually put it on a credit card because, again, it was thousands and thousands of dollars and we just didn't have the liquid to do it. So we put it on a credit card, going against all of the Dave Ramsey isms that we grew up under. Don't go into debt, well, not all debt is created equal. And I'll tell you about that here in a second. We joined the business mentorship program. We put it on a credit card. And in the first 6 months, we made $900,000. $900,000 in the first 6 months from what we learned from that program. And we did even better than that. Obviously, we started making millions and millions. And then we started taking the profits from these new skills and businesses that we were building, and we would invest them and start new businesses. And then that business would go to the next level. And every time we would invest into ourselves, we'd purchase a new mentorship, we'd hire a new coach, and we would just keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. And now here we are, tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars later, just, in the last handful of years alone, we've done tens and tens of millions of dollars. Collectively, over the past 10 years, we've done a whole bunch. And none of that would have ever happened if we wouldn't have started asking ourselves different questions. If we wouldn't have started believing, is this really possible for me? I believe it is. And not just like some fake, like, I believe it in the spirit, brother. I'm talking about like, no, this is actually possible. I believe this can happen. Even though it feels big, I believe this can happen, right? And then educating ourselves, investing, not just doing free YouTube videos or listening to podcasts. That's good. But, starting with purchasing books, and then purchasing trainings, and then purchasing courses, and then purchasing mentorships eventually, right? Like, now we're at the point where I have 6 different business coaches right now, currently in this moment. And the cheapest one that my cheapest business coach right now was $50,000 for the year. A number of them I've paid multiple 6 figures to. And it's just, I love it. It's the best investment we could have ever made, because that small investment, okay? And by the way, like, when I say the small investment, I'm just talking about what you put in, okay? Small is different for everybody, okay? It's relative. For us, a $97 investment in the early days was gigantic, right? Like, to try to join somebody's training or online virtual event, or, get their course or whatever it was. $97 felt huge. But here's the thing. In retrospect, remember I told you, I would tell you, knowing what I know now, what would I go back and do different? I would invest even more. Like, I would totally invest even more. You know what my biggest problem has been in my business journey these past 10 years, where I've invested millions of dollars into learning these new skills, hiring mentors, hiring coaches. You know what the biggest problem was? I didn't invest more. Because 100% of the time that we ever invested into mentorship, we purchased training, we bought tickets to an event to where we could level up our skills, 100% of the time, whatever we invested to get to that place paid us back dividends, man, year after year after year. It is the most insane ROI we've ever had in any of our investments, was to invest in ourselves. To purchase courses, purchase mentorships, to join the virtual trainings, to whatever it was, to go into the physical trainings. Because I'm telling you this, okay, kind of like the concept of, let's just take the concept of a book, okay? You have somebody who has whatever, 10 or 15 or 20 years of life experience in one specific zone, and they put it all into a book that you can read in a week. And you can get the same principles that took them 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You can get it for 15 bucks in a week. Like, that's a cheat code right there, man. And the same thing goes for like a mentorship program or a training or a course. Okay, the person, it took them 10, 15, 20 years to get this information. And then all you need to do is purchase a course from them, like for whatever, $100, $500, $1,000. And then you can get the same principles that took them 20 years, you can get through a course or a mentorship. Like one of my mentors, okay, it's insane. It took him 60 years to learn what he learned in business. I paid him 6 figures and I learned it in 2 months. And in just 2 months of being in his mentorship program, I was able to make millions in the first 2 months of just learning from him. Like, I don't know about you, but that is a cheat code right there. Like, it didn't take me 60 years. It just took me a 6-figure investment. That is little compared to 60 years of my life, right? And again, you might not be in the place of like ready to invest 6 figures somewhere yet, but the point is this: you've got to break those broke-minded habits of like, oh man, what if we lose the money? Or what if it doesn't work? And blah, blah, blah. Stop asking yourself those disempowering questions, okay? And you need to invest in yourself. You need to start believing that this is possible for you, okay? You need to start investing into your education on financial literacy. And then don't just be addicted to education, but allergic to execution. Now that you're learning the game from these people and these books and these mentorships and these trainings that you're attending, then you got to start taking massive action, because action takers are money makers. And it's only going to be like the one thing that's separating you from where you are now and where you desire to be are the skills that you haven't learned yet, the action that you haven't taken yet, and the consistency that you have not applied yet. That's the only thing separating you from where you are now to where you desire to be. So here's what I encourage you to do, okay? You need to believe that it's possible. You need to educate yourself, and you need to take massive action, okay? If your heart has been stirred on this 15-minute mentor training, you're like, dude, it's possible for me. I can become a millionaire. I'm interested in this. Where do I go to learn? I'm glad you asked. I have an upcoming 5-day live virtual training called Create and Sell Digital Products, where I'm literally going to show you step by step by step everything you need to know on how you can serve your people and make money online with just a phone and a laptop. Guys, the training, it's insanely cheap compared to what you're going to get, the information you're going to learn. All you got to do is click that link down below and come and join me, okay? Come and join me. This was the first step for my wife and I know that it can be the first step for you and your family as well on your path to becoming a millionaire, all right? Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. I hope that this 15-minute mentor video encouraged you. Do me a favor, like and subscribe to this channel if you want to continue to see more content like this from me, and we'll see y'all in the next training. Peace.